Hello everyone, it's Olivia here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I want to give you my very first to be read and wrap up post. I'm going to do a wrap up of the month of April and a to be read for May. I've never done one of these before, but I'm getting more into the booktube community and I felt like it's time to have a regular feature that you see appear every single month. So as I can't do book reviews for all the books that I read, I thought it'd be a great idea to do wrap ups so you get the gist of what I'm reading and like some mini reviews in there, as well as say what I'm planning to read, because I make one for my blog and my bookstagram anyway, links to those below, so I might as well just share that with you on YouTube as well. So let's do a quick life update of what's been going on in the month of April. I had my last day of secondary, or high school as some people call it, ever, so that was quite this something, and I have my exams which start on May 2nd, so by the time this video has gone up, I'm probably halfway through all my exams, and because I've been studying so much, I've decided that my breaks during studying will be reading. So even though at the beginning of this month I expected to have less time to read because I'd be studying, I've actually read more than I've read in the past 2 months combined because of my reading breaks. And that's just the way things figure. So let me talk about what my to be read for April was. I only read one book on my to be read for April, and I've made progress in 2 of the books that was on my to be read for April. And yeah, let's get right into the books that I've read this month. So this month I read 12 books. It's actually 9 because 3 of those books were novellas, which are only 30 pages long, but I'm going to say that I read 12 books because it makes me feel better about myself. So let's get started with the physical books that I read. I read 5 physical books this month, and those books are the entirety of the Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer, including the novella The Short Second Life of Britannia. Now, this New Moon was the only book on my April to be read that I actually finished and read in April, because what happened was I was buddy reading it with a friend. The buddy read didn't really work out because she was studying and I was studying, so we decided to let it go, and I was like, I'll just continue reading it myself. And then after reading New Moon, I got into a fangirl frenzy, so I couldn't stop reading Twilight, so I went back and read the first one, and then before I knew it I'd finished Eclipse, and then I'd finished The Short Second Life of Britannia, and then it was pretty much just finishing off Breaking Dawn and I was done with all the books. I also rewatched all the movies, but I think I'm going to do reviews of all of these books so that you get more detail about what I thought, but when it comes down to it, I do love all of these books except for the novella. I don't really love that one. In the month of April I also read quite a few ebooks, and even though I don't have physical copies of them, I would like to tell you what those books are about. The first one I read is It Happens All the Time by Amy Hatbani. Now, It Happens All the Time is about 2 best friends, and what happens is one of the best friends ends up raping the other, and the question is, and the whole plot of the book is, once that happens, when you are best friends, this is someone you've known all your life, how do you go on from there? It was just a really emotional book, a really educational read as well. I learned a lot from it, and I think it's something that everybody should read because it's raising awareness about a very important subject. And then the next 3 ebooks that I read were the novellas The Moth and the Flame, The Crown and the Arrow, and The Maze and the Mirror by Renee Adia. All of these books are novellas in the Wrath and the Dawn duology. I believe one of them is a prequel and 2 of them happen after the first book. They were nice, but it wasn't really anything that you kind of need to read to enjoy the series. They were just kind of, you know, little cheap things thrown in on the side. So if you're really fangirling about the duology and you want to read more, I would recommend you read the novellas. But if you're kind of, you know, you just like the books, there's really no point in reading those. And then the next novella I read is Wild Blue Yonder by Charlotte Wilson. This is the 3rd book in a young adult paranormal series, and the 2nd book ended on such a huge cliffhanger that I didn't think the author was actually going to do, so I was looking forward to reading this next book. It was okay, I just couldn't enjoy it because I disagreed with what was happening so much. The next ebook that I read was Birthright by Jessica Ruddick, and this is about a girl who is a seeker, and a seeker are the people who read other people's auras and they can tell when somebody's ready to die, and she has to choose out the people who are ready to die and become either angels or go to hell. It was really a really fun read. I actually raced through it in a couple of days. I enjoyed the world, I enjoyed the writing style. It was so personal, it was so like teenagery, and it was just a really quick blast to read. And the last ebook that I finished reading this month was Even This Page Is White by Vivek Shraya, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And this is a poetry collection to do with white privilege and racism, and it discusses those themes in his poems. It didn't really work for me. I found his writing style was a bit too choppy and it didn't have much rhythm to it, which made me struggle to enjoy reading it as much as I wanted to. Oh, hello there, this is just a quick intermission from future Olivia. I filmed this video on the 29th of April thinking that there's nothing I'm reading now that I will be able to finish by April 30th. Of course, I stand here corrected, because actually on the night of April the 29th I decided it was okay for me to stay up until 5 AM to finish reading 2 books, and then spend the whole of April 30th reading so that I could finish the book by 11 PM that night. So actually I've got 3 more books to add to my reading wrap up right now, and that makes my total 15 books that I read in April, and all 3 of these books are by the same author. So I decided I needed to get off of my Twilight kick, and I decided the way to do that is to reread a favourite of mine called Stygian by Santina Hassel. Stygian by Santina Hassel is a male-on-male new adult romance, and it's about this band who consists of 4 gay guys, and these 4 guys go on a music retreat because their band is not doing so well. I cannot even count how many times I've reread Stygian. It's very, very explicit. But it's very, very good, and I really enjoyed reading it. Once again, there's so much intensity and chemistry between the characters, and as well as that, all of these characters have their own secrets, their own messed up past, and I just think it all relates so well. And then that same night I decided I was going to start Sutphin Boulevard by Santino Hassel. This was another reread for me. This is actually only the 2nd time that I read this book, and it is a book about Nunzio and Michael. These are 2 Puerto Ricans, and Michael and Nunzio are gay, but they are best friends, and they don't, you know, do anything together. The rule is that they can go out and drink and touch each other and whatever, but they can never ever sleep with each other. But what happens one really drunk night is that things end up in a threesome and they end up sleeping together, and you know, now their friendship, like, what on earth do they do? And as well as that, it's also about alcoholism, because Michael, the main character, kind of has a drinking problem, and I just absolutely loved Nunzio's character. He's so expressive and amazing, and it's such a brilliant read. So it was really nice to reread that. And then the next day I decided to start Sunset Park by Santino Hassel, and that is actually the sequel to Sutphin Boulevard, because Sunset Park follows Michael's younger brother, who is Raymond, and Raymond has always previously been straight, but he's actually becoming bi-curious, and he's wondering, you know, what should I do with my bi-curiosity? And as well as that, the guy that Theo and Michael had a threesome with in the first book becomes friends with Raymond, and he's gay and everything, so, you know, Raymond, that guy, things start happening. I just loved the book so much. I think I actually enjoyed it even more than the 2nd one. I also just really liked Raymond's character. So now let's get on to what I'm planning to read in May. The first book I have on my TBR is Kitty Hawk and the Curse of the Yukon Gold by Ian Reading. I'm actually reading this one right now. I'm about a quarter of the way in, so yeah, I hope I can finish it. This is a review book. It's about a girl who goes on an expedition to monitor humpback whales, but from the prologue she gets kidnapped and she knows some secrets that she shouldn't know. I don't know how she gets from, you know, an expedition monitoring humpback whales in Alaska to being, you know, kidnapped and all that, so it's going to be interesting to see. Next book, even though I took the dust jacket off while I'm reading it, is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I have been reading this one throughout April. It was on my April TBR, but I got sidetracked by the Twilight book, so I kind of stopped reading it, but I've picked it up again recently towards the end of April, and I hope to finish it. I think I'm about halfway now, and it's about these 2 sisters. One has a lot of sense, she's more reserved and she's really thinking about things before she does one, and one is, well, she has the character trait of sensibility. She can't, you know, restrain her emotions. She's an open book, and she struggles with, you know, being prim and proper like her. She's the total opposite to her sister. You know how Jane Austen likes these opposites. So you see that come to play here. It's romance, Jane Austen, romance, kind of expected, and so far I'm actually really loving it. Something dramatic just happened halfway through the book, so I'm really engrossed in this one. And the next book that I want to read after that is Hell World by Tom Levine. This is a review book again, and it's about a girl whose mother went missing when she went to film some, you know, creepy talk show type of thing in some caves, and she's decided that now she's of age she's going to travel to those caves and find out what actually went down and if her mum could still be alive but just missing. And when she goes to that cave she discovers, well, something that she should not have. The next one is Private Reserve by Diana Sobolewski. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but this one is a new adult kind of romance, and I know the author decently well. She follows my blog and I'm really looking forward to reading it. And last but not least, Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. I'm still pretty insane about the Lunar Chronicles. I've read the entire series except for this short story collection and the graphic novel, which I do not own, but I really want to read the short story collection and getting caught back into the characters, into the world, and getting to see a bit more about what happens after the finale, because it was so good. I love that series so much. So those are all the books that I'm planning to read in the month of May, and those are all the books that I read in April. I'm really looking forward to hearing about you guys. What are you reading this month? What did you finish reading? What was your favourite read of your month so far? Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. I post videos every week, and I'll be posting a new video next week, and I'll see you then. Goodbye!